Nearly there.
Okay. Well, it is time for my quarterly report.
Thank you.
Oh, Bryce, I gave you two. Yeah, one's for me. Okay. Okay, this is for the first quarter of 2021. I did the distribution in January, so right now we have $500 in cash, which we do that every day. We always keep $500 in cash. At Prairie Bank, we have certificates of deposits for $1,389,618.70. And at both American State and St. John National, there is a total together of $9,012,942.12 for a combined total of $10,403,403.60.82. So, and that is that, and then,
Is that about normal? Are we up or down as far as the county funds as compared to last?
no, actually, I think it's about normal. Yeah. And then I'll be, as soon as, let's see, on March the 16th, I can start the next distribution. So, but yeah, we're starting to get quite a few of the second half of the 2020 taxes in. So actually that totals more now because this is as of March 31st. So we've had the whole month of April.
Taxes are due by May
May
15th.
10th. May 10th. Yes.
Well, I know it's cards sitting on the refrigerator.
Oh, you got your card?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got my
I
card.
don't know if I need to go into executive session for this one. I'm just
I don't
wanting,
think so.
asking for a step increase for Karen Petty
No.
from range 4, step 6 to range 4, step 7. So Karen's been very diligent, very reliable, very responsible, and I totally feel like she deserves this annual step increase.
I make a motion that we give Karen Petty a step raise increase from range 4, step 6 to range 4, step 7.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We increase Karen Petty's salary from range 4, step 6 to range 4, step 7. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Did you sign yours?
I signed this one,
Yeah,
and
you-
Bryce has one that
Yeah, I
I
got
signed
one
also.
signed too. Do you need
You
it?
signed that for me. I just need to sign
Just
one.
one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I would like to
Yeah.
sign one also, just for my records. Okay, did that one need it, and then this one, I forget all that.
Thank you.
And I didn't date it.
It's okay.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, anything else from me? All righty,
I'm good.
okay, have a good day.
Thanks, Mary. Have a good day.
Thank
You.
We'll do the minutes real quick.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the April 21st, 2021 meeting.
Second.
Then moved and seconded, we adopt the minutes of April 21st. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And there is one tax roll correction. It's for that building we bought in Hudson. We got it exempted, but we did have to pay part of the taxes.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the tax roll correction.
Second.
Then moved and seconded, we adopt the tax roll correction. All in
There's
favor,
just
say
one.
aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And that's all I've got. I talked to Amy, she's gone today. I talked to her about her side and, we're all good. She's gonna get that cleaned out in the back.
Okay.
She said a lot of that stuff was carryover from Glenn and she knows it needs to be cleaned out.
I imagine that's like churches and schools where nobody wants to throw anything away.
Well, I'm gonna suggest we have a dumpster put out there. Cause there's some stuff, I know in my storage thing I could throw in it, and I'm gonna ask the others. There's stuff in that hallway we could still probably get rid of and just,
Like
Yeah,
a
maybe
big Kansas dirt dumpster?
I don't know if we need one that big.
A roll off?
Okay.
Well, you might send out a feeler to the rest of the
I'm going to.
department heads.
Yeah.
and-
See if,
Because if we could just like do a spring cleaning,
Mhm.
I mean, 'cause maybe people want it.
yeah, I was
Maybe
gonna,
there's stuff in every office or every little nook and cranny
I'm
that,
pretty sure there's stuff in the basement we could pitch. That was my plan though, is to get that and put it back here. And then, I'm gonna have Teresa help her and they'll just go through stuff and
yeah.
she agreed it needed to be cleaned out, so.
When when I get done planting corn or get a little bit of time, do you want me to check into getting one of those, push deals for the door? For if somebody's using the big room,
She didn't really think that was necessary.
should we put a camera in there facing from their side to the door, so if somebody goes in, we know who did it?
That would be my suggestion.
Probably the cheapest.
Because, like she said, they have so many kids running in and out of there for their after-school stuff. You know, if that door would get shut and pushed open, the alarm would go off. And I'm gonna talk to Randy about putting a camera in over there, and I want one in here too.
Mhm.
And it's on my list of things to discuss with him today.
Do we have cameras in the big room?
I know,
I thought we had some cameras over here.
we do,
On the
outside.
outside.
We don't have any in the building.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think it might be a good idea. Okay,
No, we got one out on the pole to do the back of the courthouse
Yes.
in this building.
we have them all on the outside of this building and obviously the outside of the courthouse. We have some on first floor in the courthouse at the doors. And then, but there's nothing inside here. So I think it's something we should probably do.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that, just,
Well, if
It's a
somebody comes
one-time-
in and says they fell in the front door, how?
well, yeah, it's a
Yes.
one-time investment,
Yeah.
just to CYA on
Mhm.
a lot of different fronts.
Yep,
Yep.
so
Yeah,
that's my plan anyway.
okay.
I don't have anything else. Oh, the bushes out front, they're full of bagworms. I don't think that Philip's gonna get them pulled out.
In front of the courthouse.
Yes, they look awful. You want me to hire somebody to come in and pull that stuff out for us?
Wasn't the one bid you got outrageously high?
5,000.
Are you gonna try to find a cheaper one?
I don't know who else to find.
It might- Doesn't take much to spray them.
You want us just to spray
Spray
them,
'em.
get them along?
Yeah, that or let the bagworms go and maybe they'll kill the plants. It'll be easier to pull
Last
out.
year they were so bad, they walked across the sidewalk in front of us when we were leaving to get into the real trees.
Well, maybe
So-
we get Ryan just to spray it and,
Kill,
huh?
kill the bushes?
No, kill the
Oh,
plants.
Teresa sprays them,
All right.
and she
no.
just didn't know, because the spray's kind of expensive.
Yeah,
Let's
well,
just spray 'em.
Okay.
and then when Philip has time, this fall, in the winter,
Well, no blizzard.
in a blizzard, and when it's 15 below zero,
Hey, you got that cold this winter.
I have something to ask you before you leave too.
Okay. There are 4 copies there. That's it. It's all,
So-
and also you have to sign them. It's for the construction engineering on this, on the striping this fall.
Yeah.
oh, no.
You're doing the northwest quarter?
Yes.
Seriously?
You gotta sign every page, Clay.
You, Clay, for free, you can,
Okay, all right, I won't complain anymore. We need a motion to do this, to agree to, for the agreement.
Is this just an application for the grant or what?
no,
Let's see.
it's for the construction engineering is what it's for.
Do we need a motion to sign that?
I think we've already did it one time because it's with the project
Have we did,
for.
we made the we approved it.
Yes, because because we've already signed some of the contracts, but this is
So-
this is another part of it.
Oh, yeah,
So I
we
have no
assigned.
idea what you guys need to do on administratively.
Looks like we all three have to sign.
Yeah, I think it even has to be signed by Nina, and then I also need to sign.
I even brought my seal, cause I figured we'd need it.
You
And
got your,
then, then 3 copies of this guy go back. to the
Sit
state.
back,
Well, yeah, no, this
can
3
you
copies.
scan it and email it? Or
I
you
gotta
send it?
scan one in and email to the state, and then we gotta send 3 copies.
So they can sit on somebody's desk and, never mind. I'm having a little PVD issue right now.
Oh, they're wonderful people.
Well, they aren't back at work. They still working from home.
Yeah, that's crazy. A lot of people probably won't go back.
It's hard to set up an extension district when you don't have a district ID number.
That one's ready for Clay down
Well, I
there.
seen they finally, quit extending driver's licenses. There was some executive order she did the other day. There's been so many of them.
It's, I've
Quit,
lost track.
quit paying attention to them.
I saw we have one active case in the county now, as of Monday. So, you all three got that?
But they bought their softball game last night, and I was with
Hillsborough.
Hillsborough, and they were talking about they had an outbreak finally at the school.
Hillsborough?
Yeah.
Right at the end of the school year.
Well, they had prom, they had all these other things, and they didn't know which one of them it was.
So that one's fully done there.
Okay, that's, all right, yeah, that's,
Clay?
so you say there's one active case?
Yes.
How many in quarantine do we know?
6 or 9.
I think it said 6.
She posted it on Facebook.
It's on Facebook.
Imagine.
That's one.
How do you know anything if you don't know
I,
Facebook?
that's the
Or
problem,
you
I
don't
don't know
go to a coffee
anything.
shop.
I don't know anything. Well, I went last week and it was so much information.
I think that was done.
Misinformation.
You forgot your Big Chief tablet to write it all down?
That one's fully done.
Oh, okay.
Has anyone started on the grain bins yet?
Yeah, I'll go out there.
Oh,
I don't think so.
Is she gonna move them out of there? Is that what she's gonna do?
Yep.
what's your opinion about the round top out there?
The round top,
Yeah.
what's the whole, I think it's, I'm.
Yeah, well, Bryce and I'm certain Todd as well
Did I
agree
stamp that one?
Which,
that
I think I misstamped it.
the floor's good.
yeah.
In very good condition.
And there's
I'll
two
guarantee it's probably as good as the one we have here in town, and it's not very good because years ago, they put salt in there, so some of the corners of the
Yeah.
building are gone.
Yeah.
But there's two garage door openers.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they are.
If we write that building off, should we leave the concrete?
I'm not sure, would it do you any, for what purpose?
If you ever decide to build a new salt shed and move it out of St. John, Could you build a new salt shed out there and use that concrete since you'd
I don't
just
think
already
you'd want to put salt on concrete.
Yeah. We're just thinking of it.
I would use blacktop on
So
salt.
if all those buildings are torn down, then we could remove the concrete and maybe that ground could be used for farming.
I just leave the concrete.
Part of the one building Rob wanted left, right?
Yeah.
He didn't want any building?
I don't think we have a use for any of the buildings,
I don't know
unless
why.
he's gonna do training or something
Well,
on
he
the
was gonna-
buildings and.
We've
Storage.
got some dirt out there.
Was it one for storage or something, or was he gonna get one of those trailer things?
I think he was
those-
gonna get one of those Connex deals.
Oh,
Yeah, that'd probably be best.
Like where Ryan's
Are you-
building used to be, that's got concrete on the floor, doesn't it?
Yes,
Not
yes.
good?
So I mean, when you
the
wanna
other
leave-
one has
Sorry.
concrete too, where the roof is gone.
I'm wondering if we don't wanna leave that concrete, cause if Rob does put a Connex out there, it'd be nice to set it on concrete.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
You know, I know that the kids are doing, Amy had mentioned years ago about them starting some skeet shooting deal out there, where you could put a thrower on the concrete, like where the round top's at, throw skeet out, the kids are standing on concrete instead of grass, I don't know. It's just one of those deals, if we ever wanted to, we could tear it out, once we
Yeah.
tear it out, we
Alright,
gotta
well, I
spend money to
agree
put
with
it out.
Yeah, I'd rather blow sand blow over it and then just
Because it
sit
would-
there than
it-
tear
it-
good concrete out.
It would, you know.
I was
don't
really,
think anything-
I was really impressed with the shape that the floor was in, it's in very good shape.
But what about where the grain bins are set?
Yeah, no, that could probably go.
Yeah,
round-
the pads.
Those are round pads, they're not worth, they're probably not very thick either.
No,
Morning, Mac.
Morning.
You look like you just got up.
Been brutal. You
City-
see me wearing glasses. I never wear glasses. I always have my contacts.
Allergies?
The allergy, or I would,
They're horrible.
I think I got
we
something in my eyes.
We'll
Yeah.
recess. Speech.
I see. Okay, so you might recall last summer, there was, we made application to the Department of Commerce Community Development Block Grant Program for a particular program that was purported to offer some support to businesses of, close down. We had one business in particular that was very interested in this. It didn't work, the program didn't turn out to be very workable. No one has taken any money from it at all, and they're now asking if we're not gonna use it, if we wanna de-obligate it, which I think is the sensible thing to do. We're not gonna have anybody. We talked to a lot of businesses, trying to see if they'd be interested. This program's sufficiently like cumbersome. I will say, there's also the particular business that we wanted to help. So Great Plains Development was actually administering this for us. Thank goodness, because it's time consuming. But
okay.
No, this wasn't, this is a totally different program than what we've had before. Like CARES and,
this, okay, CDBG is Community Development Block Grant. So the fundamental framework of that is something that's available year in, year out. It's through HUD, but administered at the state level through Department of Commerce. Cities can get some city-based, like water and sewer infrastructure funding. You can qualify for CDBG housing programs in some cases. Turns out the sidewalk that we got in St. John was a CDBG project. But in all cases, you have to show a sufficient level of poverty to count. So some cities count by census data, they're automatically qualified. Not all parts of Stafford County are. So If you're not qualified by census numbers, then you have to survey, that's what happened like in the sidewalk project. We had to survey the beneficiaries, so in that case, it was those that were just adjacent to the sidewalk, and show that 51% are sufficiently impoverished to be able to qualify for the program. You know, in like St. John, for example, you think that that would be a very easy corridor to meet that standard, that low-income housing, if nothing else, you know, that would be an indicator of that. And we got it by the skin of our teeth. It was very
It's
hard.
pretty hard to get them.
So in this case, one of the things that became very cumbersome about it is that you have to have 51% of your employees have to be sufficiently low income. And so in this letter, you can read it, we can change it, you don't have to. I thought, well, if they're gonna ask us to write a letter, I'm gonna tell them why this program doesn't work. It has to, okay, so to deobligate it, it has to be a letter on letterhead from an elected official.
So is this
Chief
money-
elected official.
So is this money that economic development has received?
No,
Or is this change, it's already sitting at the state and they're wanting to?
They're wanting to
redo it?
dish it out.
yes, it's
basically.
sitting at the state, it never actually transferred, it would never have gone through economic development or
But
the
it-
county.
But it's earmarked for us at this
It
point.
would be earmarked for Stafford County and businesses within Stafford County if we could find businesses that would qualify and are interested in running through the hoops and all that kind of stuff. We didn't get any businesses that did.
Mhm.
But it would, the money would have gone directly to the business, not through the county. But the county had to be the applicant. So 51%, let's see if I actually have one of those. Okay, so I don't know how much you want to get into all this, but for example, you would have had to have all of your employees fill out this form and show that they had income of for a family of one, it would have had to have been income less than 22,650.
So $11 an hour.
Yeah, and if you've got a second job outside of that, then you make more than.
Yeah.
So even if, like, say somebody's a clerk at a convenience store, making $11 an hour, and that business is paying them less than 22,000, if they have a second job somewhere else,
Yeah.
it disqualifies them.
It seems like one of those programs that they say, oh yeah, this is available, this is a good deal, and then no one qualifies, and then they never have to send the money out.
It was, people had higher expectations.
So what are you wanting to do with the money?
De-obligated, it won't be earmarked for Stafford County anymore, and they won't be asking
just
us
take-
to report on it and everything.
You would
We're
just take
done.
some money?
No, the money just never comes here. They're gonna
Okay.
keep it at the state.
But it has to come from, this has to be addressed from a elected official.
Correct, because Stafford County submitted the application.
Okay.
You know, in fact, if I look back, the executed grant agreement was signed by Kurt as the chairman at the time, but, you know. So we went through that, I don't know if you remember, we went through the whole process of having, you know, an open hearing kind of selection process of having Great Plains Development be the administrator and, all,
Yeah.
you know.
So
that's
we,
what all
I mean,
of
we went
this
through our
is.
due diligence of
We
trying
did.
to get business to,
So we talked to, you know.
but realistically,
some people-
if you have a part-time business that was out of, out of commission from COVID, you're gonna have part-time help, and, most people are gonna scratch together more than 22,000 a year between part-time jobs, and then
Right.
it's not really the business's fault that their employees are doing that.
And exactly.
Yeah.
And
But then
one of the
the
other
business
things that I
doesn't.
pointed out there that struck me as another example of, to me, arbitrary rules of this, is just any of the, they had, the qualifying business needed to show qualifying expenditures that they would get reimbursed for. Utilities could be one of them, except if you live somewhere where your utility bill is being paid to a municipality, which of course is a good part of Stafford County, you couldn't have reimbursement for anything that went to a government entity, even if it was utilities.
So like,
Utilities paid to Midwest Energy, fine. Utilities paid to the city of Stafford or the city of St. John, not okay. So, those are the two.
So actually, this program was designed for larger cities and not for small
Well,
communities.
I think
I like
CDBG in
this.
general,
It's pretty
probably that is a fair
significantly more
assessment.
bureaucracy than other programs offer.
I'm sorry, I thought, well, you guys aren't gonna write very grants, I can tell them a
Well,
little
it sounds
more
like it was a
bluntly.
giant waste of time.
It was.
Yeah, it really didn't pertain to communities, really.
Well, you
Which
know,
is shocking
I
because
think-
a large majority of other, in a broad sense, a large majority of other COVID funding that was available through SBA loans, PPP loans, those were very liberal, very easy to get.
Mhm.
And then stuff like this that could actually help a specific business, super hard to get.
But I do think my perception is that there's a culture though, within this program, where it's run at the state, that they look for reasons to justify that, as opposed to reasons to try to change it for the better. And if they can ask them to consider changing it for the better, as they can't, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's-
Okay.
So I
This
don't know.
would be like a bar in Wichita, where they had to close down completely. Or
Well,
or a
but if they pay
restaurant.
their utilities to the city of Wichita,
And their servers
No,
work
I
at
think-
Although I would guess it would probably be
another job. I mean,
Evergy or
if
whatever
you're a
you-
server
what is
in
it
Wichita,
that
you're
used to
making more than
be,
22,000 a year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Before it
know
was
the
Evergy,
people
what
that
It
was
used
are-
to be KP&L and then it was,
Well,
Do we need a motion
but
to
it
have
was,
Clay sign this?
yeah, but are you gonna wait till next week so I can get it typed on
it's gonna have to be on
real
letterhead.
paper?
yeah,
That's fine.
that's,
Yeah,
Or
I'm
Do you
okay
have a
with
Word
this.
document?
I do.
Just email it to me and I'll
Yep,
stick it on there. You could probably go ahead and do this and then I could get it printed out if I can make that printer work. So yeah, if she'll email it to me, we can get it done
Just
today.
to deregulate from the funds.
I make a,
I'm making a-
CDBG deregulate the funds.
okay. I make a motion that we approve the chairman to sign a letter to deregulate the funds from CDBG Project Manager Program.
Second.
Good job.
It's been moved and seconded, whatever Todd said.
Yeah, don't ask me to repeat it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Deregulate.
From the CDBG
CV.
CD
dash
program.
CD
I
program.
got that in there. Okay.
So then it has to be mailed? You
It
can't
doesn't,
be-
we can scan it
And email.
but if they do need it in writing from the
So-
chief elected officer, that's what they said.
When I come over, then I can go ahead and sign it?
I'm hoping I can print it out right here shortly.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We'll see if we can get all this to work out. It'll be a miracle.
Oh, well, it doesn't need to be done this week if it doesn't, it's no big deal.
Can we recess?
Sure. Recess, please. Greetings.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Steve Johnson. I'm the new chief judge. I replaced Mike Keeling
Oh, okay.
as chief judge. I've been judge for about 8 years, but not chief judge till Judge Keeley retired. So I've taken that position over. Of course, you know Renee probably already, and this is Lundy Settle, who, did you come as chief court service officer last year?
Not last year, but the year before.
Year before. But anyway, she's now our court administrator. She's moved up to that position. Raylene Maddox is taking over the chief court services position. So, and we're here to do our annual presentation of our requested budget. So, I think we sent out a
Yes.
proposal ahead of time. We're here primarily to answer questions, but I will point out a couple things, and Lundy's kind of put together some of the information, but this is the same request that we made 2 years ago, or I guess we actually made it last year. You didn't grant all of what we requested, but we've also added one thing to it, which is a $6,500 increase for a microfilm reader. We're gonna have to get a microfilm reader no matter what, because we're required to provide it by state law. So we've included it in the budget. This is the same one that Barton County purchased, so we know how it operates and that it's what we need. Microfilm is something that's going to go by the wayside, but it hasn't yet, is what it kind of amounts to.
Yeah.
Microfilm was the big solution to document storage, obviously clear back in, I don't know, it probably started in the 60s.
It was before me.
They used to do microfiche, which was just a card with everything on it. Now with it, they're on reels.
But we still have the.
You still got quite a big
yeah.
microfiche.
Oh, all of it's a microfiche
Oh,
and
okay.
reels, both.
Both.
We have both.
But anyway, this machine will read both. The reels are a lot easier in that you have you can run the reels through automatically. With the fish, you gotta hunt around by moving your hands around yourself. But anyway, this machine actually hooks to a computer and brings it up on a computer screen. You can make copies and so on, as we're required to be able to provide to the general public. And I mean, I don't know if you prepared a presentation on it or not. That's the big difference in our budget request. You know, I don't know, are any of you guys new?
I'm
You
new.
A little new?
Yeah.
I'll do a little explanation of what's going on here. The way our court system is set up since the 70s is the counties are still required to provide the courthouse, the facilities, equipment, and so on. All of the salaries are handled by the state of Kansas. So, and all the employees of the court are all state employees and under the state budget. But the county still, and the county has a little bit of expense for magistrates that they don't have for the district judges. But pretty much it's the infrastructure is what the county gets to cover. And that includes the equipment, the computers, and so on. COVID did something really interesting for us in that we got to get a lot of upgrades and updates and stuff on things at the expense of, I think it actually filtered all the way down from the federal government. But we were able to replace everybody's, well, technically the Supreme Court, or the OJA, Office of Judicial Administration, owns all the computers, but we'll have access to them until they're obsolete anyway, and I don't know what the Supreme Court will do with them, but technically they own them as opposed to the county but we're able to get all our employees new computer systems, which has been really nice computers. They're top of the line. They're from Dell, but they're basically the Microsoft Surface. We're able to take them with us. The whole point of it was to be able to work from home. Was the justification for the grant that we got from the federal people, that they upgraded all the computers for us. We were able to put a lot of electronic equipment and stuff in the courtroom through those grants and stuff to enable us to social distance during trials and stuff. That's all in place, and we'll probably, hopefully that'll all be over before we have our first trials and stuff. But that's one of the things to mention. We didn't spend any money on jury trials because pretty much a jury trial didn't happen because of COVID. Stafford County has very few jury trials. There's very few jury trials that happen anymore because they're usually settled out either through, if it's criminal, through plea bargaining or diversion. Even the civil cases have really dwindled down. I think the last jury trial you had was a crop dusting, or not, actually it wasn't crop dusting, it was just a crop application. It was actually on the ground. That was what, 3-4 years ago? And then I did a misdemeanor DUI case, I guess, since then, a couple of years ago. But we haven't had a lot of jury trial expense, but we have to be prepared for it, and it's in the budget, because if they want a jury trial, they're gonna get a jury trial by state law. So we have to budget for it.
So you might only do 1 or 2 jury trials a year?
It's probably averages less than that, to be honest with you. But we
So
have to
you
be-
only have to work 1 day a year?
I wish jury trials were done. But, and again, that's one of the things I do want to highlight, is you'll see that we have a county portion of the budget and a district portion of the budget. And there's the district, I'll just have you turn to the page that deals with that. The district portion is things that is for the, basically for the district judges. They're things that benefit the entire district, all 5 counties. And that budget is on page 7. And it's $109,000. But see, the counties are only asked to kick into that district budget based on their size, and naturally Stafford County is the smallest population of the 5 counties. And so we only asked for $8,720 of that $109,000 from Stafford County, which is 8%. Again, it's based on population is how that figure is come up with. And that's things that benefit the entire district, and it's in there as far as, you know, what we have to pay in travel, education, equipment rental. We just have to, we've been supplying all of the equipment and so on, but we have, you know, we have postage that's particular just to the county, and postage that is, you know, basically benefits the entire district. So that's why there's a separate postage in the district as well as a postage in the Stafford County portion. But anyway, that $8,720 is transferred over into what we're making our request for on the Stafford County budget, and it's a line item in the Stafford County. Hopefully the cover page kind of explains what we're doing here, but the forms that were provided to us by OJA changed a few years back, so we include a page 8 just so you can see what was, yeah, that's actually the current budget. Now, is that, is page 8 county?
District,
or the
district expense.
District. Shows you what we asked for the district. But we did the same thing. Page 7 has the actual 2020. And then 21 is, or the next line is estimated current for what we're going to spend in 2021. And then the proposed budget is 2022, which we hope that's higher than what we'll actually spend. But the thing is we got to be prepared to do jury trials. Sexual predators is one of the ones that really get us as far as expenses, and mainly because they're entitled to have their own psychological evaluation and so on. I don't think Stafford County's been hit very hard by sexual predators, like some of our other counties have. Rice County got hit with a pretty good sized bill last year on a sexual predator evaluation. One of the things that we need to point out on the budget is, even though this is our budget amount, we do get some money back from different things that we put into the county's general fund. And one of those is there is a state sexual predator fund that we get to apply to, and we get money back based on how much money they have. It's under state law, the responsibility of the county, but they did recognize that that's quite a burden for the county to bear, and we try to get some of that money back, whether it's for the defense council or for the psychological evaluations or whatever the county's responsible for. Like I said, that part of the speech hasn't been as big for Stafford County as it has for some of my other counties because of we just haven't had as much along those lines where this Attorney General wants to commit somebody in the sexual predator program. We do get some of the money back on court filing fees. Of course, court filings are down statewide, and that's because of COVID. And we expect them to be higher moving forward because things that people didn't have to file are going to be pushed forward into the upcoming years. But the state of Kansas suspended all statute of limitations, so civil cases could be pushed out. And they did that on the jury trials too. Kansas is one of the states that has a statutory speedy trial statute, which I guess some legislation has been passed. It's going to give us, what, like 3 years or something like that to try cases, criminal cases. Of course, if we're having to hold them, the sheriff's going to be talking to you about his budget. If he's got to keep those people in jail until they get to trial. But we're letting and did let out a lot of people that normally would have had pre-trial detention, and we're trying to monitor them through court services and so on, which is a separate budget all in and of itself, I guess. Let's see, anything else of note to explain? It's a lot to take in as far as new stuff for somebody that's new on the commission, as far as what the court asked for.
On page 3, it's the annual budget, general fund accounting for Stafford County. Down there towards the bottom, it says district expenses, and it shows $9,200 or $8,220
Yes.
right here.
That should,
Is that the number from here?
that should match up, but it doesn't, does it?
But that number off page 7 is what that is.
Yeah,
in
it should be the
Or
8,
the proportionate amount.
Okay,
right?
so that's the proportionate amount,
right,
and that number should be 8720.
right.
Looks like it's $500 short.
It looks like it transferred from the estimate over to the proposed, but 8720 would be the amount that they would have to pay if the full district expense was used. So like if you look back onto that actual, they may not use the full amount, but that's the spot where Renee can't cut that portion of it, because if she cuts her portion, all 4 other counties would have to cut it, so,
Yeah.
yes, so that would be, that should be 8720.
You're right, it should match.
Okay.
And this is the first time that I've had
Yeah.
it not match, to be honest with you. But it's $500 off, it looks like.
So that'll raise your total to 73,
73, 1,
one. Okay.
yeah.
Good
Got it.
catch, Todd.
Yeah, it should have matched. Those are the ones that if we run short of money that we can't really deal with. And it's like this, what we're asking for on this microfilm reader. If you don't improve the additional to purchase it, we're gonna have to find the money somewhere too. Because it's just by state law, we gotta provide it.
And the one I have, you can read it, but it won't print anymore, and
And we gotta-
it's antique.
But we have to provide copies. So
Yeah.
it basically is what a copier, I mean, it would take the image from reading the film and just make a copy like an old style copier, and that's not functioning, right?
No, it doesn't print.
Doesn't print anymore.
I've had to go to the library to get copies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, because we're required to be able to provide them to somebody who is
Yeah.
looking for court records. Eventually, everything's gonna be digital, and I'm not sure when it's gonna actually be mandated. But this machine will make digital images of The old machine would just only make a copy, like printing a photocopy, and this one will make a digital image. We don't provide digital images to the public. Well, they gotta pay the same fee, I guess, as they pay for a copy. I guess we can provide digital images, which allows us to email and so on. So,
I know other departments have microfilm. Can we use it if we need to?
I suppose so, because our microfiche, they are in case specific, they're in little sleeves by case. So, I mean, it's just,
Well, I know like with the Register of Deeds, she's slowly getting her microfilm weeded out, but I didn't know if this might be something she could use too.
I would suppose.
I
You wouldn't
know
object
why
to
she
that?
wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't object to it.
So maybe we could pay for it out of something else.
Or at least split the cost. spread
That's
it
what
out.
I was thinking, if we
Shit,
could.
what is she on, like 1980 something?
I think so.
Yeah, I subscribed to the online, we got some funding through the COVID crisis that it's basically CIC, right? And, you know, we have subscriptions that we can go on and view those documents. Is that something that came through?
As I understand it, that's basically what Rice County's done, is they, what is it called,
Digital reel.
digital reel?
Yeah, to where lawyers and researchers can go on and view
No.
court
they-
documents?
No, they still have to come to the courthouse.
Okay.
And say, I don't know what's gonna end up changing. We're in the middle of a brand-new statewide case management system switchover.
Yeah,
And eventually, they're gonna make everything be required to be in digital. And it's, I don't know what expense they went through, I wasn't chief judge at the time, but they went with digital reel, which they just basically provided all the microfilm to the company, and they turned it all into a digital
yeah,
format, and now she's paying a pretty hefty fee every year
yeah.
to be on digital reel.
I think she paid over 20,000, if I remember right, to have that.
To get it done.
Yeah, I think ours was quite expensive for the Register of Deeds too, but they
And
kind of
see-
filtered
I don't know
down
what's
through
that
some
high.
funding.
Yeah, and see, Barton County has gotten all theirs switched in the Registry of Deeds office, all their deeds.
Yeah.
And all their indexes and everything's been switched, and I know it was some ungodly amount of money to do it.
Yeah,
I wasn't involved in any of that because it's not part of the court system, but that's probably where we're eventually gonna have to head. And this is kind of a stepping stone moving forward.
yeah,
But it hasn't been mandated yet, and I suspect when it is mandated that the Supreme Court's gonna find some money, hopefully for the courts to do it. Yeah, like Ellis County, they just on their own, when they went to paperless in Ellis County, they got their clerks to basically take a machine like this one that we're getting, and they went back through all their old cases that were on microfilm and got it updated, backloaded into our current case management system. That has not happened in very many counties across the state. But it's probably gonna be required eventually to where you can go on to the statewide case management system and see everything back to the 1800s. But that's not here yet, I guess
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
to say, but it is here in a lot of the Register of Deeds offices and so on. And that sounds a little bit like what they might be doing here too, but I know if you go to Ellsworth County Register of Deeds, you're still pulling out the microphone.
yeah.
And I think Rice County, you're actually still pulling out the microfilm in the Register of Deeds office, but you're not in the district court's office. So it's just, who has been willing and more tech savvy has really kind of controlled
Yeah.
the progress.
So this is basically a scanner or a reader, or you call it a copier. So does it take, you run your microfilm through there and it makes a paper copy, or does it scan it to where you can make a paper copy or put it onto a computer?
I made him demonstrate the one in Barton County for me this morning, so I don't know if Renee wants to mention that or not.
I've just gotten the proposal and all, I've never been trained on any of it.
It is a reader, and it has to be hooked up to a computer. Once it's in the computer stage, you can do anything you can with a computer image. Send it to any printer that's on your network or whatever to print it. But that's essentially what it's doing. You put the reel, you have the little, the reader sets on the desk, you have the plate available to stick the fish under if you have fish, but it also has reels on each side to where it'll pull the reel of film across that same dish. It has, again, a software program that runs it. So you pull up, you have to have a screen. In Barton County, they have one setting. Unusually, it's a tall, narrow screen, and so that one page, it'll fit more of the. It's a landscape set on side, and you can always rotate your image through, but that way you can see the whole image like you would, and it magnifies it up to where it's easy to read, as opposed to, it's easier to read than the copy on an 8.5 by 11 paper is going to read, because you can make it big. But that image, it has the software program, and this is probably more the program than the reader, but the reader, it will enhance the image if it wasn't filmed well, which we have a lot of them that weren't filmed well, even though they were filmed by professionals outside. You know, we'd send the files to them. We do some in Barton County. They actually, no, they're just making digital images and getting it into full court, I guess. But anyway, it has the ability to enhance the signatures and the actual printed images and so on before you print it. And you get a much higher quality picture than you would have out of the old machine that just made a photocopy of the image. It was all, what they call it, analog, I guess is what they would have called it before. The old machine was all analog. And this is all digital and can digitally enhance. It can actually do character recognition to where it could actually read it to you, or try to read it to you. I don't know how accurate it was. I didn't try that feature, but the machine that we're buying is actually a reader. You connect it to a computer that you already have and a screen that you already have, and then you print it on printers that you already have.
Okay.
So
when you do that, you can put it into a computer file and probably have a paper file.
right.
So is that your intent, is to get everything off of microfiche onto computer?
Not immediately.
Because it's not gonna happen until next year, you know.
Yeah. OJA gives us a chief clerk and a assistant, and that I don't think that there would be enough. Plus, nothing's going to happen with the Odyssey coming online until it's online, and supposedly it'll terminate a lot of work. But it's interesting what OJA has in mind is the Stafford County clerks are going to actually be able to work on Johnson County cases when they get this all into place as far as processing them through and so on. And they'll do that statewide. And in all honesty, because they have to have at least 2 clerks in every courthouse, because if they didn't, nobody'd be able to take time off. And some of the clerks are just the full-time clerk and an assistant clerk. Here we have, OJA has given us a full-time clerk and a full-time deputy clerk. But they're planning on them actually being able to work statewide, every clerk. And so that instead of having to put more clerks in Johnson County, they'll actually be able to have the clerks that are truly setting out in western Kansas not always completely busy, just because of the low caseloads that happen in those counties. We may eventually lose the one judge per county statute that's been proposed many, many times over the years, and everybody's been able to fight it off. But right now we have a courthouse in every county. Some counties actually have 2 courthouses, but hopefully that won't change. I understand budget-wise and stuff, where you have magistrate judges sitting out in Stafford County, or out in western Kansas, like Wallace County, just hoping something will happen because they're going stir crazy. sitting in the courthouse. But, you know, they could truly operate court one day a week in Wallace County and cover all the caseload. But you need a judge there for when they need that search warrant or when something happens that law enforcement goes through. But that's the state's hope. They are not thinking of doing what they've done in Nebraska. Nebraska has closed a whole bunch of courthouses, and they don't have a courthouse for, they have the courthouse for county business. They don't have a court in every county anymore. They've gone to a regional system. And, you know, electronic conveniences to have that happen. We're now signing search warrants, you know, through electronically. You know, the officer will get it certified or notarized and then email it to us, and we'll review it and then decide if we're going to sign it electronically. So things are changing, there's no doubt about it, but we're in the process of that change. We're always in the process of a change, I guess. But that's what the reader will be involved in, is part of that change, I guess. But I don't think we have plans of us doing it till the state figures out that we have to change all our microfilm to, in this county. We've already done it in a couple of counties, and it was an expensive process to do it. And I'm hoping that the state mandates it, you know, if OJA mandates it, that they're gonna find some funds to help us do it, rather than ask the counties to be involved in that.
Yeah.
And that reader would be for here in the courthouse here, right?
Right.
Where is that at on the line item budget?
It's in,
Is it on capital outlay office equipment?
Office
yeah,
And you said that reader was how much?
6,500.
Okay.
So that's why they jumped from 65 to 13.
Yep.
Right. The amount that was not part of the jump is just, you know, the regular maintenance and equipment and so on. One of the things, and again, it's not happening this year, but OJA is supposed to be working on providing us computer support that, that the state will be taking over from the county, hopefully. And I'm not sure what our line item is exactly on,
7,500?
Oh, computer services, isn't it?
yeah. That hopefully is going to be diminishing moving forward, but I'm not sure how soon it's going. OJA has formed a brand new IT department and hired 6 people. But part of it is, the idea is once we get this Odyssey program, which is the statewide case management system, it's going to be one of the big benefits. Right now we're on what they call full court. Every county has to have a full court license and a full court program and so on. With Odyssey, we should be logging into a program that's, the servers are going to be housed in the Judicial Center in Topeka, and they're going to be basically a central server for all the counties. Where right now, we all have to have servers and stuff to operate full court, and all of that still gets uploaded to Topeka, and they monitor us and so on, but it's all going to become, they've run into more problems, and that's been just so typical of the state of Kansas court system and their move into the new world of technology. I heard one guy give a seminar on it and says we're just basically 10 years behind their plan, always. Whatever they're planning to do, we're 10 years behind. And I think that's going to happen. The original projected rollout, we would have been on Odyssey, our district would have been on Odyssey, what, 2 years ago? No, a year and a
February 2021, but
Yeah.
we would have started
This year.
Well, that was a new date. That wasn't even the original, I don't think, the February of 2021. Anyway, we're at least, I think we're 2 years behind their original rollout. But it doesn't matter, I don't think they're gonna make their February 21 or 2022, based on what I've been hearing lately. And it's just the way they've always done things. They actually have some counties some districts on it, and it has not gone smoothly. But eventually they'll have the whole state on it and supposedly cut down on our cost of maintaining equipment. So, and we should be able to hopefully stop the contract with Central Plains Computer Internet Group. That is a lot of that cost on what, the 7,200?
The computer services.
Yeah,
75.
yeah.
That kind of goes all over the place from 2020 to from 10,000 to 39 to 75.
When they gave us new computers for OJA, that didn't fall within our contract with the computer company. So to turn, get all those going, we paid hourly for it. And I think it's $125 an hour. So we got the new computers, but then we had to pay a lot of computer services and.
It's like getting a tractor worked on.
I know. Is this John Deere?
Well, we did get top of the line computers for free.
Yeah, that's
Or
what they
not,
tell
I
me
shouldn't say
too.
I like mine at work so much, I was looking to buy one for home, and I was just shocked at what the price is.
Yeah.
So,
How much do you have now in your capital outlay fund?
For the current total balance,
Yeah.
well, it would be what,
I mean that, you've been getting 53 and then 65.
For the 2021
Oh,
budget?
yeah.
yeah, well, we can give you the
75.50.
estimate for the year, the only figure you brought with
If
you.
you look on page 4, it's the 2021 budget for
Yeah.
Stafford County.
Yeah. Capital outlay. But you don't spend that capital outlay, all that capital outlay money that you put in there every single year, do you? Do you have a fund there for emergencies and stuff like that, or does it spend down to
No.
zero?
It all goes back to zero every year.
yeah.
Okay.
A lot of that money you don't even actually have, it's just what we submit to the county to pay
Mhm.
within the budget.
Yeah,
Yeah, it comes out of your general fund, we don't have the money,
yeah.
and we can't keep the money. We just have to tell
They
you what
never
we're.
really build up a surplus.
Okay.
Yeah, we never build up a surplus, I guess is the way to put it. And if we go over, we have to plead and beg because of some unprojected thing. that we
They're part
haven't-
of general fund. They're in the general fund,
Okay.
so
Yeah, yeah, we don't keep any of our own money, well, we
this
do
is
have
like
quite
my
a few
budget. I mean,
accounts that we have to keep for the state and
Yeah.
so on, and send money back and collect money, and then we have to give it to the general fund. And I don't know, did we put together a figure on what we gave back last year, or we were able to get back out of this budget, but it's usually like 25%.
It's almost 7,000 we put back into general fund
Yeah.
last year. That's on page 2 at the bottom.
Some of that comes from filing fees we collect, some of it comes from defense services that we have to provide, that we always order that the defendants pay it back, but getting it is not easy.
This down here is the amount that you paid back?
For the actual, 2020, we pay that back through UA costs, Inc., which is where if somebody goes out online and wants to look up records for Stafford County, they're charged for looking those up, and that comes back and goes into the general fund, and then certain fees that are taken when filing fees, certain amount of that goes back into the general fund as well. And then we just add 2.5% to estimate for the next 2 years, but we won't know till next year what actually, who's always gonna look up cases and all that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Think we pretty well covered it.
Now, if you have additional questions, I'm certainly get
Okay,
together
sorry,
and
signed it.
answer them. But that's about all we can tell you about the regular budget. This is a new process for me too, as far as what the information to get to all of you, so.
Looks like there wasn't a huge drop off in case filings.
No, it's-
24% decrease from 19 to 20.
And I don't know how much it was.
A lot less traffic, yes, less people out driving. Less people getting-
Well, that's part of the COVID
Yeah.
issue too.
Yeah, that's what I was
You
saying.
know, and I don't know how Stafford County, I can tell you what I've been told statewide, and it may not apply to Stafford County because it's a different than the statewide averages, so. But domestic violence cases have gone way up statewide, and it's because everybody was at home.
Lock everybody up at their house.
Juvenile cases went up a bit, but see, major criminal went down, and it's not that they're not gonna get filed, it's just that some of those major criminal are all based on circumstantial evidence and stuff, and law enforcement's gotta be ready to file them anyway, when they think they got a strong enough case. And they could put them off on filing them too, till they were ready, or certain investigation. There's a big trend civil case wide to go way down because a lot of the civil cases are driven by insurance companies, and the insurance companies are now figuring it out and getting them settled before the cases are even filed. It used to be in the old days, the personal injury or anybody that was bringing a damage case of some nature would have to file them before they could even get the insurance companies to talk to them. So then they'd get filed and then settled. Even the ones that are still filed, because they can't negotiate a settlement, usually end up getting settled before we actually have to do a jury trial.
Yeah, now they've figured that out, their magic number, and then they just set
But
it.
they got computer models now.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
plug it all into a computer, and the computer tells them what the case is worth.
Yeah.
It's like predicting the weather. So it's not necessarily accurate, but they're usually willing to settle on it.
Mhm.
So you're not gonna see the number, medical malpractice is almost non-existent now. It's all settled outside of court. I think we have one going in Great Bend, that's the only one in the district.
Mhm.
So things have definitely changed over the years and because of technology. But statewide, cases have been getting lower and lower and lower in some aspects. As soon as they legalize marijuana, I bet that all our I-70 cases dwindle quite a bit too. And again, they do it. I mean, it's the highway patrol is doing it through computer modeling, which, you say you can't do profiling, but if you're in a rental car traveling through Kansas and they think you've just, rented the car, you're gonna get stopped, is what it amounts to.
Mhm.
So if you enter the east turnpike and go through the west in a rental car, you're probably gonna be looked at, is what it amounts to. So,
Especially Riley County,
yeah.
Junction City.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they do it, but we have Ellsworth and Russell, and, I mean, there's just case after case of, and you see it when you're driving down the interstate. You'll drive down the interstate and there's a car with everything laid out on the ground.
Mhm.
So, but drug dogs prevent, if they got a drug dog, usually the people that don't have anything don't get searched. They may get stopped, and the dog may run around the car, but if they don't have anything, they don't get searched. But I don't know how many they search and never find anything. They won't give us those figures. They deny that, that it's even happening. But anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right.
I shake your hand, but with coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, that's what, we're still required to do all the masks and everything from the Supreme Court, so,
Really?
yeah. So even though the county may not be requiring it, we've still got to do it.
I can get it, Riley.
So,
Riley, I've got it.
Okay.
These come from over there? Just
I'm
one.
still using it.
I
Kind of.
think I
It's
got it.
okay. You can leave
I've
it.
got to say, the next group can make their own. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
I didn't realize, but Cordero is closed.
And this farm
Visitor
girl appreciated your reference to the
Yeah.
John Deere.
Yeah.
center, because of federal regs.
I thought it was because the roads were getting flooded out over there. I know at one point they had water running across the
Yeah.
road, so they didn't want
No,
people.
Philip's gonna check for that key
Okay.
in your box. He says it's still in the box, he has.
But I'm thinking Jane and Russell still haven't got her key for a
I've
while.
got AP here, I already looked through
And
it.
so she has to put it out,
Okay.
because there's no sense like saying.
But we have to put that box out.
Well, I would,
That's
I
what they
guess I
were
got
wanting to know.
two.
unless, if there's a key there, yeah.
But if you don't have a key,
Yeah.
you
Don't put it out,
That's
'cause
just- I think
you
that's
can't get into it.
all right, but he's gonna look.
Right.
So, okay,
And then
I
this
just
is
handed him my letter
this
today,
is all
so.
the general
You did?
stuff here.
Yep,
When's your
September
September?
3rd. I'll
Wow,
still be there.
lucky duck.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, so if somebody needs a search warrant in the middle of the night, the officer fills it out, gets it notarized, he said? Just by a general notary? And they send it DocuSign or whatever to the judge, and then he can sign it electronically, and they get a search warrant. That's
If
probably-
you were in a big rush to get a search warrant, how quick could you get it?
Well,
Like, who generally notarizes those? Say you're in the middle of the night,
there's usually somebody at the sheriff's department, one of the
Usually,
dispatchers or secretary.
I mean, could you get one in 2 hours if you actually were pushing?
or can you
for it?
get one on the side of the road?
Yeah, well, two questions. Here,
Maybe we had a.
here's kind of been my policy.
I've never heard of that before. I always figured the judge actually had to sign it.
Usually you have to swear under oath, you know, the facts alleged are true and accurate. My policy is always, I want to read it before it goes to the judge, because I may see something and say, I don't like this, I don't think there's, valid or whatever. So what the officers here do is they call me in the middle of the night, I go down, they email it to me at my office, I run down there, look over everything, say, okay, take it to the judge, or now you can email it to him, and then he emails it back with a signature, and then so, now, your question is, can we do it on the side of the highway? Usually not, but a lot of times what we have done is because if someone gets arrested for DUI and refuses to give a breath test or a blood test, we can do a search warrant to actually have it withdrawn from their body. But that, the statute says the blood draw has to be within 3 hours of the stop. So yes, we have to really turn and burn to get that window. But yeah, it can be done. And a lot of times, like we haven't done any here just because of the lack of volume, but occasionally, like Hutch will do a DUI check lane, and literally they will have the judge sitting there. If the person refuses, they will just, they've already got the form filled out, and yeah, it's done on the spot. Or the judge is at least made aware, we're doing a check lane tonight.
Sit by your computer.
You might have your ballpoint pen out, because we'll have business for you. So, yeah.
I thought refusing a blood or breath test the penalty was just as bad as a DUI.
It is.
So why do you bother drawing the blood if it's gonna be as bad?
Because you still want the DUI.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, test refusal, you'll lose your license for,
The gun deal,
She's never emailed it to me.
yeah.
I'll try to get it for next week.
What's on the agenda? It says sanctuary.
Well, Barton County passed a proclamation
Remember we talked about that
Monday for guns.
a month ago?
Something about, I don't know the exact wording, but it was,
Oh, yeah.
We
you
talked
guys-
about it like a
yeah,
month
yeah,
ago.
Yeah.
There was a county out in western Kansas that actually passed a resolution, I think.
oh really?
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. I thought you guys signed that resolution.
No,
Uh-uh.
Oh,
Barton County did a proclamation on Monday, and Bryce had gotten some phone calls about it, but I'm trying to get a copy of what they did.
okay.
It's,
Well, I just saw it on the agenda, I thought,
yeah,
Yeah, it's the same, it's along, I assume Barton County's is along the same lines as what they did in western Kansas. It was a resolution. But,
Right.
it's, you know, from what we talked about, it's more or less a formality for local things, you know, it's not gonna really affect your state or federal cases, but,
Right. Okay.
I do
The-
think that the overwhelming majority of our population are strong Second Amendment
Yep, yep. yep.
supporters, and
This-
I'm a strong Second Amendment supporter, so I'd like to at least look at doing something like that.
This is from the news article. The proclamation states that the commission does not condone any laws or regulations that preempt the U.S. Supreme Court's rulings on an individual's constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Symbolic in nature, sends a message that Barton County does not need more gun control.
And then I think they
There's really
also
no
sent
teeth
that,
to it,
yeah,
but-
they sent that to their local representatives and their
Uh-huh.
state representatives.
So,
Um,
I got no problem with that.
So I guess next week, hopefully we'll
I'll
find
get a
out
copy of
what
it.
they did and,
yeah.
But people need to realize that only affects our police department. I mean, if a highway patrolman's coming through, then he enforces the federal laws.
yeah. See,
Yeah,
like if
the
DA
resolution
comes
that
in.
they passed in western Kansas spoke specifically to that the local law enforcement was not going to basically enforce anything that infringed upon the Second Amendment. I think Barton County's is more of the line of a strongly worded letter,
Yeah.
something of that nature. But irregardless, however we do it, I think
You
it'd
think?
be
Okay.
worth looking at.
Well, maybe
Time to get up.
phase. Anything else? Carol, we're adjourned.